November 24th, 1971. A day that would become etched in the annals of criminal history, not for the brutality of the crime, but for the sheer audacity and enduring mystery that followed. This is the story of D.B. Cooper, the alias of an enigmatic skyjacker who vanished into thin air, leaving behind a trail of questions that continue to baffle the world to this day. Our tale begins at Portland International Airport, Oregon. A man carrying a black briefcase approaches the counter of Northwest Orient Airlines. He's nondescript, mid-40s, wearing a business suit with a black tie and white shirt. He introduces himself as Dan Cooper and purchases a one-way ticket on Flight 305 to Seattle. Flight 305, a Boeing 727, is only one-third full, with 36 passengers on board. Cooper takes seat 18C, lights a cigarette, and orders a bourbon and soda. It's a typical flight, just another routine trip for the crew and passengers. But what transpires next turns this ordinary journey into one of the most baffling unsolved mysteries in FBI history. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper hands a note to Florence Schaffner, the flight attendant. Assuming it's just a lonely businessman's phone number, she slips it unopened into her purse. Cooper leans towards her and whispers something that turns the flight's normalcy on its head. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note's message is chilling. Cooper claims he has a bomb in his briefcase. He opens it slightly, revealing a glimpse of wires and red sticks. Panic sets in, but discreetly. Cooper's demands are clear: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane for a getaway. A hijacking unlike any other has just begun. As the plane continues towards Seattle, the authorities are alerted. The FBI and airline executives scramble to meet Cooper's demands, unaware that this hijacking would become one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. As Flight 305 makes its way to Seattle, the pilots relay Cooper's demands to the authorities.
Seattle Center, this is 305, declaring an emergency. We have a passenger on board with a potential bomb. Request immediate vectors for an approach to Seattle-Tacoma International, and we need to coordinate with law enforcement on the ground.
The FBI and airline executives grapple with a critical decision: to comply or not. Ultimately, the safety of the passengers and crew takes precedence.
We've reviewed the situation. The risk to the passengers and crew is too high. We have to meet his demands.
Agreed. Our top priority has to be the safety of everyone on that plane, but we need to plan for every scenario, including his possible escape.
Yes, let's prepare the ransom. But we'll also set up a perimeter and have our teams ready in case he attempts to flee after landing. They agree to Cooper's demands. Meanwhile, at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, a frenzy of activity unfolds. The FBI and local police rush to gather the ransom: 10,000 unmarked $20 bills totaling $200,000 and 4 parachutes. The stage is set for one of the most audacious exchanges in criminal history. The aircraft touches down in Seattle as dusk falls. The passengers aboard are oblivious to the full extent of their predicament. They sense tension but remain unaware of the bomb threat. Cooper remains calm, almost aloof, as the plane taxis to a remote corner of the airport. In a high-stakes exchange, the ransom and parachutes are delivered to the aircraft. Cooper releases the 36 passengers, along with 2 flight attendants. His meticulous planning is evident. He retains the pilot, co-pilot, flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant, ensuring the plane can be flown and managed. With the ransom now in his possession, Cooper outlines his next move. He instructs the crew to fly to Mexico City, low and slow, with the landing gear down and the cabin unpressurized.
Go ahead, Tina. We're listening.
He wants us to head to Mexico City. He's insisting on a low-altitude flight, under 10,000 feet. Also, he wants the speed kept under 200 knots. And, he's asking for the landing gear to stay down and the cabin unpressurized.
Understood, Tina. Anything else?
Yes. One more thing. He's requested that the rear air stair remain down during the flight.
All right. We'll comply for now. Keep us posted if there are any changes.
The stage is set for his daring escape. Under the cover of darkness, Flight 305 takes off once more. The FBI and law enforcement are left scrambling on the ground, devising plans to track or intercept the aircraft. But Cooper is always one step ahead. As the plane heads south, Cooper's demeanor changes. He is no longer the calm hijacker, but a man on a mission. He orders the remaining flight attendant to join the pilots in the cockpit, then meticulously prepares for the next phase of his plan. In the back of the plane, Cooper straps on a parachute. He ties the ransom money bag around his waist. With the aircraft flying through a stormy night over the rugged wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, Cooper opens the aft air stair. In a daring and unprecedented act, Cooper leaps into the abyss, vanishing into the cold, dark night. The mystery of D.B. Cooper is born at this moment, a man and his stolen fortune swallowed by the vast, unforgiving landscape. In the aftermath, one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history unfolds. The FBI combs the suspected landing area, a rough terrain of dense forest and mountainous regions, but Cooper, nor the bulk of the ransom, are nowhere to be found.
The terrain here is our biggest challenge. The forest is dense, the ground uneven, and we have a vast area to cover. Cooper could be anywhere in these woods, and each step has to be taken with caution. Yeah, and the weather hasn't been on our side either. The rain makes the ground slippery, reducing our speed and making aerial searches more difficult.
How are you keeping up morale among the team?
We know the importance of this mission. Everyone here is fully committed to finding Cooper, or at least any clue that might lead us to him. It's a tough job, but we're up for the challenge.
Despite their efforts, the rugged terrain of the Pacific Northwest proved to be a formidable adversary. The dense forests, steep hills, and cold temperatures hampered the search efforts. Days turned into weeks, with no sign of Cooper or the ransom money.
The D.B. Cooper hijacking remains one of the most baffling mysteries in criminal history. Based on the evidence, there are several plausible scenarios. First, Cooper might have been an experienced skydiver, knowledgeable in both aviation and survival skills. His calm demeanor during the hijacking suggests a certain level of confidence and planning. Yet, even for an expert, the jump was extremely risky due to the altitude, weather conditions, and unfamiliar terrain. Alternatively, Cooper could have been an amateur, driven by desperation or thrill. In this case, surviving the jump, especially without leaving any trace, seems highly improbable. The lack of concrete evidence after the jump might indicate either a well-executed escape plan or, unfortunately, a fatal outcome.
As time passed, the mystery only deepened. Questions arose about Cooper's fate. Did he survive the jump? Was he an experienced skydiver or a desperate man driven by circumstance? The FBI considered various possibilities. Some speculated that Cooper might have been an ex-paratrooper, knowledgeable about aircraft and survival skills. Others thought he was a regular man, pushed to the brink with no escape plan. In the following months and years, the FBI analyzed over 1,000 serious leads. From suspects fitting Cooper's description to recovered ransom bills, each clue seemed to deepen the enigma. One of the most significant discoveries came in 1980, when a young boy found a decaying package of $20 bills totaling $5,800 on the banks of the Columbia River. The serial numbers matched the ransom money. This finding sparked new theories. Some believed Cooper might have landed near the river, while others argued the money could have been planted. The debate continues to this day. Over the decades, the legend of D.B. Cooper has inspired books, films, and countless theories. Yet, the true identity and fate of the man who called himself Dan Cooper remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in the annals of American crime. As we reach the end of this tale, one thing remains clear. The shadow of D.B. Cooper still lingers, a phantom in the skies.